Welcome neighbors, friends, students, and community members to Natick's 17th Annual MLK Day Community Celebration. I'm Rosemary Iwakura, a junior at Natick High School, a member of the Natick Freedom Team and Youth Advisory Board of Spark Kindness. Martin Luther King Jr. believed in building a beloved community based on justice. He once said, "When I'm commanded to love, I'm commanded to restore community, to resist injustice, and to meet the needs of my brothers." Today's celebration has been organized by and for our community and will feature some of my fellow students as speakers and performers. It will also feature many other community partners. I'd like to take a moment to thank the many partners who make this special celebration possible, including representatives from the Greater Natick Interfaith Clergy Association, the Natick Public Schools, Natick is United, the Natick Board of Health and Natick 180, the Town of Natick, Natick Metco, Spark Kindness, and Walnut Hill School for the Arts.
Hello, my name is Christine Guthery, and I'm the founder and executive director of Spark Kindness. This important tradition of honoring Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Natick began 17 years ago through the leadership and partnership of Dr. Anna Nolan of the Natick Public Schools and Reverend Vicki Guest of the Natick Interfaith Clergy. Over the years, the Natick Public Schools and Interfaith Clergy partnership has remained a driving force behind this event, which has grown larger and more vibrant each year. This year, we find ourselves again in extraordinary times as our school and community leaders are being called to serve during this pandemic. We are grateful to each and every one of them for their commitment and work to create the event you will experience today, ensuring that our focus on justice, anti-racism, and belonging will continue. I also wanted to offer very special thanks to Randy Brewer, General Manager of Natick Pegasus, for his tireless support, time, patience, and technical skills that went into producing this year's very special event. We hope you enjoy today's program with performances inspired by the life and legacy of Dr. King and a keynote address by Deacon Arthur Miller, social justice activist, Vietnam veteran, author, radio host, and childhood classmate of Emmett Till. You can follow along with today's program, see a list of all participants and planning partners and student creative contest winners at our MLK program event page, which is scrolling at the bottom of your screen. Thank you again for joining us.
It's not the waking, it's the rising. It is the grounding of a foot uncompromising. It's not foregoing of the light, it's not the opening of eyes. It's not the waking, it's the rising. It's not the shade, we should be past it. It is the light and it's the obstacle that casts it. It's not the heat that drives the light, it is the fire it ignites. It's not the waking, it's the rising. It's not the song, it is the singing. It is the heaven of the human spirit ringing. It is the bringing of the light, it is the bearing of the lie. It's not the waking, it's the rising. And I could cry, power, 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 Lord. Nina cried, power, Lily cried, power, Mavis cried, power. And I could cry, power, 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 Lord. Curtis cried, power, Patty cried, power, Nina cried, power. It's not the wall, but what's behind it. Lord, the fear and everything that we're denied by keeping the divide. It's not the waking, it's the rising. And I could cry, power, 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 Lord. Nina cried power, Lenin cried power, James Brown cried power. And I could cry, power, 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 Lord. Billy cried power, Johnny cried power, Nina cried power. And I could cry power, 'cause power has been cried by those stronger than me. Straight into the face that tells you to rattle your chains if you love being free. And I could cry, power, 'cause power is love when my love reaches to me. James Brown cried power, Seaguy cried power, Marvin cried power, James Brown cried power, Danny cried power, Danny cried power, Billy, Dylan, Woody, Nina cried power.
Good morning, and welcome to this service in celebration of Martin Luther King Day. I am Reverend Adam Tierney-Eliot. I am the pastor of the Eliot Church here in town, and I'm also here representing the Natick Interfaith Clergy, which is one of the groups that helps to put this on every year. This is a day that we set aside to think about the problem of race in our country. It is a milestone every year where we can look back on our successes and our failures. We remember our history and see how far we still have to go to reach the just and peaceful world that we all yearn for. So today we are renewing our commitment to further the work and values of Martin Luther King Jr. And we do still have a long way to go. I mean, this year has been a strange one. It has been a year since we experienced that attack on our Capitol building and on our democracy. And of course, we are continuing to struggle with this pandemic, to fight against something that continues to reveal the many, many inequities in our society. But we, here today, are doing our utmost to keep hope alive. To keep hope alive. The hope for a peaceful and just community here in Natick and beyond. Now, as I said earlier, a great many people contributed to making this event a special one. So thank you to everybody who took time out of their busy lives to work on this project. And thanks also goes to you who are attending today, making your witness a part of this event. So now, before we get on with the rest of the program, let's take a moment in silence to collect ourselves and to be present to each other and to the spirit and to the lessons of Martin Luther King. Blessed be.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michele Marotta, and I work with Spark Kindness. Though we can't gather in person this year, we are committed to creating opportunities for connection through this event. For those of you watching from the YouTube live stream, please join the chat with your reflection and celebrate the work of our young participants who are inspired by Dr. King's legacy. And we invite you all to join us immediately following the program from 11:15 to 12:15 for our virtual community welcoming fair with special activities for all ages offered by our community partners. Use the link on the screen below, tinyurl.com/Natick MLK Day 2022 to visit our event page for more details and links to join all of the family-friendly activities offered by our incredible partners. And though we can't come together for a townwide service project this year either, you'll find there are still many ways to serve. Today, you can join Natick Service Council for a virtual food pantry tour and Q&A and learn how you can donate non-perishable food items and clothing. We hope you will consider contributing to help neighbors in need. You can also join our friends at Family Promise Metro West for a hands-on Houses for Change campaign activity for kids and caregivers. There are live virtual activities for all ages in our welcoming fair this year, and there are special programs linked from our event page that you can watch at any time. All are welcome. Thank you again for being with us today, and we really hope that you enjoy the program.
My name is Neera Mahesh, and I'm a board member of Spark Kindness. I'm really honored to join you for this year's event, and I'm so glad that you're all here. Our Natick MLK Day planning team has put together a really engaging program that I personally hope gives you time to reflect on the significance of today, allows you to learn some new information, inspires you to serve our community and Commonwealth in a positive way, and of course, celebrate the legacy of Dr. King. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce to you our elected officials and Natick town and community leaders. These guests will be reading passages from Dr. King's speech, Remaining Awake Through a Great Revolution, which was delivered at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. on March 31st, 1968. They'll also be reading extracts from the American Dream sermon, which was given on July 4th, 1965 at Ebenezer Baptist Church. May Dr. King's words affirm our community's commitment to racial justice in the year to come and beyond. Thank you.
One of the great liabilities of life is that all too many people find themselves living amid a great period of social change, and yet they fail to develop the new attitudes, the new mental responses that the new situation demands. They end up sleeping through a revolution. There can be no gainstaying of the fact that a great revolution is taking place in the world today.
Now more than ever before, America is challenged to realize its dream. For the shape of the world today does not permit our nation the luxury of an anemic democracy. And the price that America must pay for the continued oppression of the Negro and other minority groups is the price of its own destruction. For the hour is late and the clock of destiny is ticking out. We must act now before it's too late.
Through our scientific and technological genius, we have made of this world a neighborhood, and yet we have not had the ethical commitment to make it of a brotherhood. But somehow, and in some way, we have got to do this. We must all learn to live together as brothers, or we will all perish together as fools. We are tied together in the single garment of destiny, caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, and whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly.
And so, it is marvelous and great that we do have a dream, that we have a nation with a dream, and to forever challenge us, to forever give us a sense of urgency, to forever stand in the midst of the isness of our terrible injustices, to remind us of the outness of our noble capacity for justice and love and brotherhood.
It's an unhappy truth that racism is a way of life for the vast majority of white Americans, spoken and unspoken, acknowledged and denied, subtle and sometimes not so subtle. The disease of racism permeates and poisons a whole body politic. I can see nothing more urgent than for America to work passionately and unrelentingly to get rid of the disease of racism.
This morning, I would like to deal with some of the challenges that we face today in our nation as a result of the American dream. First, I want to reiterate the fact that we are challenged more than ever before to respect the dignity and the worth of all human personality. We are challenged to really believe that all men, and may I say all people, are created equal.
Something positive must be done. Everyone must share in the guilt as individuals and as institutions. The government must certainly share the guilt. Individuals must share the guilt. Even the church must share the guilt. The hour has come for everybody, for all institutions of the public sector and the private sector, to work to get rid of racism.
Now there's another thing that we must never forget. If we are going to make the American dream a reality, we are challenged to work in an action program to get rid of the last vestiges of segregation and discrimination. This problem isn't going to solve itself, however much people tell us this.
Somewhere, we must come to see that human progress never rolls in on the wheels of inevitability. It comes through the tireless efforts and the persistent work of dedicated individuals who are willing to be co-workers with God. And without this hard work, time itself becomes an ally of the primitive forces of social stagnation. So, we must help time and realize that time is always ripe to do right.
History is the long story of the fact that privileged groups seldom give up their privileges without strong resistance, and they seldom do it voluntarily. And so if the American dream is to be a reality, we must work to make it a reality and realize the urgency of the moment. And we must say now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to get rid of segregation and discrimination. We must live with that. And we must believe that.
On some positions, cowardice asks the question, is it expedient? And then experience comes along and asks the question, is it politic? Vanity asks the question, is it popular? Conscience asks the question, is it right? There comes a time when one must take the position that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular, but he must do it because conscience tells him it is right.
And I would like to say to you this morning what I've tried to say all over this nation, what I believe firmly, that in seeking to make the dream a reality, we must use and adopt a proper method. I'm convinced than ever before that nonviolence is the way. I'm more convinced than ever before that violence is impractical as well as immoral.
We need not hate. We need not use violence. We can stand up before our most violent opponent and say, we will match your capacity to inflict suffering by our capacity to endure suffering. We will meet your physical force with soul force. Do to us what you will, and we will still love you.
Love is the way. Love is the only absolute. More and more I see this. I've seen too much hate to hate myself. Hate is too great a burden to bear.
We're going to win our freedom because both the sacred heritage of our nation and the eternal will of the Almighty God are embodied in our echoing demands. And so, however dark it is, however deep the angry feelings are, and however violent explosions are, I can still sing, "We shall overcome." We shall overcome because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice.
Hello, I'm Ken Richmond, Rabbi and Cantor from Temple Israel of Natick. I wanted to share with you a verse from the Hebrew Bible that Martin Luther King would often quote, and then a quote from King about the prophets in general. From Amos chapter 5, verse 24. But let justice roll down like water, righteousness like a mighty stream. But let justice roll down like water, righteousness like a mighty stream. V'igal kamai mishpat, Utzdaka kenachal etan, V'igal kamai mishpat, Utzdaka kenachal etan. King said, and his words ring true today. Today we particularly need the Hebrew prophets because they taught that to love God was to love justice, that each human being has an inescapable obligation to denounce evil where he sees it, and to defy a ruler who commands him to break the covenant. The Hebrew prophets are needed today because decent people must be imbued with the courage to speak the truth, to realize that silence may temporarily preserve status or security, but to live with the lie is a gross affront to God. The Hebrew prophets are needed today because we need their flaming courage.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of God be upon all of you. Thank you so much for allowing the Islamic Center of Boston, Wayland to participate in this Martin Luther King Day celebration. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihi wa ala alihi wa sahabihi ajma'een. We start in the name of God. The most beautiful names belong to God, and we send peace and salutations to his prophets, to his family, and to all the believers until the day of judgment. 1400 years ago, a shepherd sitting atop the mountain of Arafat said that all mankind is from Adam and Eve. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, and a non-Arab has no superiority over an Arab. A white person has no superiority over a black person, nor a black person has any superiority over a white person, except by their piety and good action. This was the Khutbatul Wida, or the last sermon of Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings be upon him. It is lamentable indeed, and I would like today perhaps to first admonish my own brothers and sisters, the Muslims of this world, that 1,400 years later, we have not made further progress on this very simple premise that we are all created equal. Almost 60 years ago today, the man who we are commemorating then reminded us that he had had a dream. I have a dream, he said, that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Echoing almost the words of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam 1400 years prior. It should not have taken the lives of George Floyd or all the other blessed lives that have been lost in the pursuit of justice and equality. We pray to the Almighty Lord to help us people and as a generation rise to this moment and fulfill what Prophet Muhammad taught us and what Martin Luther King Jr. then reminded us, that we are all brothers and sisters and the equal creation of God. We ask Him to make us righteous and give us the courage to stand for what is right and to never waver from it. When faced with great adversity, the 11 sleepers of Ephesus prayed a very beautiful and profound prayer that is apt for us now. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً وَهَيِّئْ لَنَا مِنْ أَمْرِنَا رَشَدًا. O Lord, pour your mercy upon us and guide us to the best in our affairs, the best judgment in all that we do, in all of the affairs that we undertake. We ask the good Lord to help us in the pursuit of justice and equality and to protect us and our parents and our children in this time. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen wa akhiri dawana anil hamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation.
So, the task of creating a world where people can strive and live in equality and freedom became ours. Here is how we continue to live Dr. King's legacy at Starfish International.
Luckily for us, Starfish International is situated in a culture where kindness is just a part of daily life. You can go to anybody's house and they will feed you, and even if you don't have a place to stay, they'll share the little that they have with you. So our job, therefore, is to remind everybody that each of us has that within us. Everybody comes with a story, and therefore you lead with kindness. You look at what the person needs, where the cracks are, and you try to be that light that enters and serves. And if we're lucky, you will treat them even better than you would yourself.
Waves of the sea, flowers of the garden, united agreed, bounties of thy love. Waves of the sea, flowers of the garden, flowers of the garden, united agreed, bounties of thy love. Wake up me, ooh, wake up me, ooh, because His ways of the sea.
Created differently, distinctively, diversely, so we may tell the beauty of one another. And the noblest of humans is he or she who can marvel at the beauty of the other, however different, however strange, however novel. I have a dream that speaks of the Gambia's diverse people, of their freedom and peace each day. I have a dream that speaks of how we will stand united, living and striving for the freedom that echoed in South Africa. A dream that soars on the wings of America's star-spangled banner, hoping, all long may it wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave. A dream that comes to life when Taiwan seeks to found a new free land. World peace will be our stand. A dream for you to cheer me on, for who I am, for what I'll be, for what I am not, and for what I'll never ever be. Thank you.
I have a pledge. A pledge that speaks of people. No matter their race, no matter their faces, no matter their pace in life, no matter their ways of life, I have a pledge. A pledge not influenced by fear or favor, fun or fantasy. A pledge that speaks of Breonna Taylor, Amadou Diallo, Manuel Ellis. Know their names. A pledge that speaks of all that's denied of people because of their gender. A pledge that speaks of all that's said about others because they are transgender. A pledge that speaks of me, not being treated any better or worse than anyone else, but as human, deserving and worthy of safety, support, and sparkling kindness.
Today, not tomorrow, not when you have your dream job, not when you retire. Now is the time there is for you to open doors to those children who don't look like you or speak like you, to laugh with them and not at them, to stand by them in the moonless night, dancing to the rhythm of the universe's heartbeat, that pounds the same as yours, as theirs.
As we archive the history that once eclipsed all that unites us, we must fuel our passion for eliminating all that divides us. We must each take a stand, a deliberate, conscious stand, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncomfortable to be the other person's keeper. Yes, the other person in a different continent. Yes, the other person in a different skin. Yes, the other person in a different body. Yes, the other person in a different religion. Yes, yes, yes. The different other person. Remember, created differently, distinctively, diversely, so we may tell of the beauty of one another. And the noblest of humans is he or she who can marvel at the beauty of the other. May we continue to be inspired to be the noblest.
But I'm specifically here to show you a particular painting that I admire and love so much, and it's one of my favorites in the art gallery. And it has been drawn by Rosemary. It has been painted by Rosemary, who is the mentor for the art gallery and the coordinator for the art gallery. The reason why I love this painting so much is because it has different beautiful colors and different flowers, but it is in one garden. And this showcases that humanity is one. The whole of mankind is one. We are all one people. And so we have different people from different colors, with different colors, different shapes, different religion, different tribes, different ethnic groups. And think about all that we don't have in common. But in essence, we are all one people. And so we should treat each other with love and kindness. We should collaborate and cooperate to make this world a better place. Thank you very much for listening. And this is the Starfish International Art Gallery.
Hello, I am Shriya Zog. I am the chair of the Natick Cultural Council. The Cultural Council awards grants based on the cultural needs of the community for projects in the fields of arts, humanities, and interpretative sciences. I am honored to be here to announce the winners of the Creative Expression Contest. The contest has given our students the opportunity to interpret Dr. King's speeches and writings and express themselves in ways that are meaningful to them. Seeing their work has been an integral part of this program every year. It's inspiring to see the creativity and passion for justice and equity that these students have. The winners of the contest will each receive a prize of $100 from the Interfaith Clergy Association. The winners this year are Dhwani Prakash, an 8th grader from Kennedy Middle School for her piece, The Domino Effect. Maya Kloman, a 6th grader from Wilson Middle School for her piece, Light and Darkness. We have 2 co-winners this year from the Natick High School. Kate Alexander, a 10th grader for her piece of art titled Metamorphosis. And Samriddhi Khemka, a 10th grader for her essay, Loving Our Enemies. Congratulations to the winners.
Hi, I'm Dhwani Prakash, and I'm an 8th grader at Kennedy, and I'm reading the poem called The Domino Effect. One falls down, all fall down. What do you see? You see a girl, she could really use your help right now. What do? You join in, but not with her, with them. It's not your fault though. What were you supposed to do? You couldn't defend her. You couldn't stand. You had to join the wave, keep the ripple going. One falls down, all fall down. What do you see? Rumors fly. People in danger looking behind their backs. Trending news, terrorist attack, protests, hate crimes. What do? You're just a student. You don't have any power in the situation. So go ahead, keep scrolling. Pretend you didn't see a thing. What could you do? One falls down, all fall down. What do you see? You've fallen with the rest. Everyone is down. What do? You could try to stand, but it's just too hard. Just stay on the floor. What do you see? Everyone is down. No one can stand. But they stood. They stood. Everyone was down. Yes, they felt the weight on their chest that you felt, but how were you going to stand up? He was on the ground, she was on the ground, and so were you. They stood, and you followed. One falls down, all fall down. One stands up, all stand up.
My name is Mai Coleman, and I am a 6th grader at Wilson Middle School. I'm going to be reading my poem, Light in Darkness. Dr. King once preached years ago, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. In this day and age, fighting fire with fire has awoken rage, racing and chasing around the world. Protests are met with tear gas. A single jab is met with 100 beatings. Hate videos are met with encouragement, while others have tears of betrayal quietly streaking down their faces. If someone insults you, degrades your character, screaming back will not stop the slurs. It lowers you to their level and forges a fiery flame in your enemy. As this tirade grows, the scales that judge dip and tip with the weight of your misdeeds, dip and tip with the burden of your misdeeds. You realize your afterlife is determined which way the scale leans. Now, if only at the first battle you have dropped your weapon. Turning off a light, then flicking off all the others, leaves the world in darkness. Only turning the lights back on can banish the gloom back to the night. Only turning the lights back on can dispel numbing darkness from the room. Only choosing love instead of hate can cure this hapless world filled with hate and hostility that we did not create. However, we can work to illuminate our world. We can rise up and leave the night behind, and the sun will rise with us.
Hi, my name is Samriti Kemka. I'm a 10th grader. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and for this contest, I wrote a response to one of MLK's quotes. Ineffectiveness of hate. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate can drive out hate, love can't do that. Martin Luther King. Why should we love our enemies? Well, the reason is obvious. Returning hate for hate multiplies hate, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. In saying this, Martin Luther King's quote doesn't imply that we should agree with everyone, nor that we should capitulate our beliefs in the name of peace. But what he does mean is finding the capacity to love, to drown hate in love. In our day, this ideology has shifted but is still among us, as shown in the Black Lives Matter movement, specifically after the death of George Floyd. His death, caused exclusively at the hands of police brutality and systematic racism, caused chaos within the Black community, exemplifying that darkness cannot drive out darkness. Thus, the Black community became very public about these shootings, these murders, just as King loved his enemies publicly, forcing their behavior out into the public eye. So these events should remind us of another King quote: "We cannot, in all good conscience, obey your unjust laws, because non-cooperation with evil is as much a moral obligation as is cooperation with good." Loving your enemy doesn't mean condoning their behavior. However, what if we all loved our enemies, drowned them in love, and as one forcefully yet peacefully objected? For example, when you're the victim of or witness racist behavior, have you ever felt frozen or become mute, unable to address the racist? Well, if your answer is yes, then it's very common. Many people feel very uncomfortable interjecting themselves into a racist situation, but at the same time, they want to do the right thing. They want to interject and drown those racists, but with positivity. An effective way is by simply remembering this acronym, PIFO. Plan ahead. Practice saying responses to racist remarks till you get comfortable. Invite a conversation. After making it clear that you're not okay, explain your reaction. Follow up. Ask a question like, what are you basing that on? And lastly, offer information. Explain why the remark made was racist. So, considering MLK's compelling quote, I'm not sure if things will ever change if we can't figure that out. The pendulum will swing, but will come right back if both sides are mired in hate.
Friends, my name is John Hudson. I'm the pastor at Pilgrim Church, United Church of Christ in Sherborn, Massachusetts. And today, as we celebrate the life and legacy of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., We are pleased and so excited to welcome as our keynote speaker, Deacon Arthur L. Miller, an author, radio, and television host, Vietnam veteran, and veteran civil rights worker. Deacon Miller is the retired owner and president of A. Miller Investments and was ordained to the office of deacon by the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Hartford in 2004. He recently retired as the director of the Office for Black Catholic Ministries. Deacon Miller was arrested and jailed during the summer of 1963 as he sat in silent protest over the sustained use of racial bigotry to separate Black Americans from the rights of all Americans. And he was arrested once again in October of 2015 while protesting against the same racial injustices that continue to sully the dignity of America. Miller has preached throughout the United States and at public forums, houses of worship, schools and universities across the country, and always he addresses issues of social injustice. Miller grew up on the south side of Chicago in the 1940s and 50s and was 10 years old in 1955 when his schoolmate, Emmett Till, age 14, was brutally murdered in Mississippi. He details historic events seen through the eyes of Emmett's friends in his recently published book, The Journey to Chatham. Deacon Miller is a certified trainer in Dr. King's nonviolence philosophy, has received awards for his work for peace from many organizations, including the Anti-Defamation League and the National Black Catholic Clergy Caucus. If God were to give us an 11th commandment, Deacon Miller has written and said, I believe it would read, "Thou shalt not be a bystander." And so it is with a deep sense of gratitude and anticipation that we welcome Deacon Miller to our service.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I am humbled by your kind words. First, I would really like to thank Sarah and the organization of United Churches, that the Natick community of churches that invited me to be here this morning. It is truly an honor to be here. I wanted to start my talk by, well, just telling you a few stories that brought me to where I am. First, I'm 76 years old. Yes, I know I look good for 76, but I'm 76 years old. And I say that because I want to talk about some of my first reckonings, the reckoning of knowing what it meant to be Black in America. In 1955, the summer of 1955, the nation heard of the brutal killing of a young boy by the name of Emmett Till. He was from Chicago, my hometown, and had ventured down to a small town in Mississippi called Money, Mississippi. And in that town, he had gone into a grocery store, a small store that actually was for Black folks. It was so segregated that Black people and white people couldn't even go to the same grocery stores. And while there, something happened in the interactions between he and the owner's wife who was at the store at the time. And whatever happened, a few days later, her husband came to Emmett's great uncle's home and took him out, and he and others beat him and shot him in the head after torturing him and threw him in the Tallahatchie River. Some few days later, his body was discovered. Emmett was a friend of my family's. My brother sat next to him in school, and his mom, Mrs. Mobley, and my mother were friends. And it was a horrid time that we began to learn what it meant to be Black in America and how we might be treated. We did not know or understand, particularly at the age of 10, what all of this meant. There was no real television, and we just spent our time going to school and playing in our communities. And so it was a time of a learning that was a difficult thing to learn, but we did. I remember that time deeply and the pain that our community felt. And over the years, I've thought about that, about what history tells us of that time. And what it says is that Emmett Till was murdered because he whistled at a white woman. I want you to know that I think that's completely and profoundly wrong. Emmett Till was not murdered because he whistled at a white woman. Emmett Till was the victim. He did not do anything that warranted his being murdered. What happened was that he went to a part of our country, the United States, where the social fabric, the social construct of that community in Money, Mississippi, had laws that allowed them to do such horrible things. There was a community that was based on hatred, and the laws supported hatred. So the 2,000 people who lived in Money, Mississippi felt they had the right and supported those men who killed that little boy, not because of what he did, but because of who they were. He was murdered by hatred. Now, the state of Mississippi was also at fault because they encouraged and supported and helped support the laws and rules that allowed that community to murder Emmett Till. Mississippi is in the United States. The United States, too, is at fault because they tolerated such a state that would do that kind of thing to an American boy, a little 14-year-old American boy in the United States of America was murdered because the laws of that little town, that state, was tolerated in our country. That's the beginning of the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement, the whole purpose was to eliminate these kinds of laws that allowed hatred to grow and to be and to become and manifest itself in such profound hatred. Now, I have been convinced in my life, in that town of 2,000 people, there had to be 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, 1%. 1% would be 20. So 0.5% of people who knew that was wrong, but they did nothing. And Emmett Till was murdered because of hatred. Now, I'm going to tell you a story, because those kinds of standing aside and allowing ugly things to happen continues today. And I want to tell you a story about when I was 12 years old, a long time ago. And my community moved to my home, and my family, rather, moved to a new community. And we moved to this part of Chicago where there are plush lawns and wonderful homes. And Black folks had not been allowed to move into that community until about 1957. And that happened because people began to look at the laws that said that you could not buy in a community because you were Black. They began to fall because of the murder of Emmett Till, and people began to look at these kinds of draconian, ugly, and horrible laws. And so my family, my 2 brothers, my sister, my mom and dad, moved to our new home. It was beautiful. I remember our first day of school. And I walked, and back in Chicago, there weren't school buses. Everyone walked to the community school. And I walked by myself, the first time going to school without my brothers and sister. And so I went to school and I found my assigned desk. And back in those days, the desks were permanently fixed to the floor. And so you found your seat and you were assigned that seat the entire semester in 7th grade. And the way the chairs and the desks were built, there was a wooden lid that went up and down, and you would write on the lid of the desk that was made of wood, and you lift it up, and that's where your books and papers and pens and pencils were. And so I went to school the first week. I open up my desk and take my books out and put my homework together. And it was going along pretty well. Then one day, when I first started going to school there, I opened up my desk and there was a note, and it was to Arthur. So I looked at it and it said, "Dear Arthur, I like you. Who do you like? Please check the box." And it was signed Victoria Hawkins. And she had written a lot of little girls' names on it. She wanted me to check which girl I liked. And it was signed by this girl, Victoria Hawkins. I didn't know who Victoria Hawkins was, so I threw the note away and just forgot about it. And the next day I went to school and I opened up my desk and there was the note again. And it said, "To Arthur." And it said, "Dear Arthur, I like you. Who do you like? Please check the box." And it had little girls' names on it. And it was signed Victoria Hawkins. And she wanted me to check the name of the girl that I liked. What is this? I don't know what this is. So I threw the note away and just forgot and just played with the new guys I had met, the new little boys that were my friends. And the next day I went to school, opened up the desk. You already know what was there. You up a note, and it was to Arthur. And it said, "Dear Arthur, I like you. Who do you like? Please check the box." And I had little girls' names. It was signed, yep, that's right, Victoria Hawkins. What the heck? I don't know. So I threw the note away. I didn't say anything to anyone. I was embarrassed. I was afraid of girls. And so the next day I went to school, and there was a note. And you know what it said? "Dear Arthur, yep, I like you. Who do you like? Yep, please check the box. Little girl's name signed by Victoria Hawkins." And I threw the note away. And the next day, I went and I looked at, yep, there was a note. Oh my goodness, what do I do? And so I picked up the note and I looked around to see if anyone was looking at me. And there was this girl looking at me, kind of like your teacher's looking at me right now. Oh my goodness. I said, "That must be Victoria. What do I do?" Well, I didn't know what to do, so I just threw the note away and just kind of, squeamishly walked around, hoping I didn't run into her in the halls or anything else. And the notes kept coming, and I kept throwing them away. And then I noticed something. Victoria was being bullied. At lunch, I had made a few friends and sat with them at lunch, but Victoria sat all by herself. Every once in a while, a little boy or a little girl would walk by and knock her milk over, walk away laughing because they thought it was funny, and Victoria would clean it up. At recess, back in those days, the little boys played on one side of the playground and the little girls played on the other side of the playground, and Victoria sat in the middle, playing little girl games, jacks and pick up sticks and the like. And every once in a while, a little boy or a little girl would run by and kick her toys and run away because they thought it was funny. Victoria's being bullied. I never bullied her at all. Never. I'd say hello every once in a while. But when she sent me notes, I did throw them away. Now, this continued through 7th grade and 8th grade. Now, she didn't send notes as frequently, maybe once a month. And it would say, "Dear Arthur, I like you. Who do you like? Please check the box." Well, she slowly stopped sending me notes but they never stopped bullying Victoria. I never, ever bullied her. Well, we finished 8th grade and we all went to high school together. Now, I want you to know, boys and girls, I am a nerd. I love to learn. I love to figure out new things, and I still do. I still take classes because there's so much in the world that I don't know, and I want to know. So I am a nerd, and I had honors classes. Now, Chicago's a very big city. And in my high school, there were 2,000 kids. In my class, my freshman class, there are over 500 kids. Now, I am a nerd, as I said, and so I had all honors classes. And there were about 30 of us out of the 500 who had special classes where the classes were advanced. I think you call them AP, or advanced placement classes. We called them honor classes. And all my classes were honor classes. And Victoria was a smart little girl as well. And we got to sit wherever we wanted. And I noticed that Victoria, in every single one of our classes, always sat near the front door. And soon as the bell rung, she would run out and hurry to the next class. And she did that because she didn't want to be in the hallways where all the girls and boys were, because there are a whole lot more kids and they're a lot bigger and a lot meaner. They did some terrible things to her, and hitting her and knocking her books out of her hand, and one time trying to burn her clothes up in the locker. She would come to class, sometimes crying. But that little girl, one of the bravest people I've ever known, made it all the way through high school. She graduated, even though she didn't go to the senior prom, and graduated in 1963. And I remember our graduation because I had received a small scholarship, and so did she. But she didn't come to her graduation. It was too difficult for her, but I know she graduated. That summer of 1963 was the first time I was arrested during the civil rights movement. Boys and girls, when you look at your old history books and see those pictures, those black and white faded pictures of little boys and young girls and young boys being arrested during the civil rights movement with Dr. King, I was one of them. And I was very proud of myself because I had stood up for what I felt was right. And then it dawned on me. I not once stood up for Victoria Hawkins, not once. And my timid little hello did nothing to stop her pain. I didn't say anything because I was afraid. I was a coward. I wish that when I was that young, someone would have come up to me and said, Art, you stand up for that little girl. When you do, your friends might make fun of you. It's okay. You will be doing what is right. Your friends may tease you, but it's okay because you're doing what is right. Art, you're worrying about all the things that might go wrong and not thinking about the thing that is right. You do what's right. I didn't learn that lesson until I was much older. And that's why I'm talking to you today. Because every single one of you, including your parents, including the teachers, including the ministers, all know someone who has been bullied. And in fact, some of you are bullies. And it's done in your mind innocently that, oh, I was just teasing. But maybe the person you're teasing is hurting. You see, what we have got to recognize is that God loves absolutely every single one of us. Psalm 139 tells us that we are all wonderfully made, that all of us were known by God before we were formed in our mother's wombs. We are extraordinary gifts of God to our community. That's what we are. And the moment that this nation, this world, accepts and believes and acts on the love of God, then there will be no racism, because racism is an antithesis of godly love. We are called to love one another. And today marks the day that we turn to the one person that we know has always stood up, and that's Dr. King. Every single one of us are called to act in those kinds of ways, even when it's difficult. Here's my last thought. Often people ask, how can I be an ally? How can I do things that will help so that there is no longer hatred that is a part of our communities? Well, here's what you can do. In your families, in school, often you will hear people say bad things about gay people, about Hispanic people, about Jewish people, about Black people, about people who call God Allah, about folks in all kinds of ways, about Italians, about Irish, about white people, about anything, about women, using vulgar and ugly words. Whenever you hear that, say to that person, you know, I know differently, and I would hope that you do too. Now, if you say that to an adult, now you might get in trouble. Well, John Lewis called that good trouble. And it's okay sometimes to get in good trouble. Look, it's been my pleasure to be with you. I'm sorry that we can't be together, but one day we will. One day, if the organization that brought me here would like for me to come again and be with you in person, it would be my joy. But until then, may the God that we all love, the God that loves us, and there's nothing we can do about it, may that God bless you eternally. God bless.
Hi, I'm the Reverend Becky Gettle, the priest at St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Natick Center. What a gift it is to be among you all today, to hear such words of truth and inspiration, and to come together as a town to continue the crucial work of racial justice in our local and global communities. As New Englanders, it can be hard to talk about money and resources, but as people who aim to change this world for the better, we cannot ignore the potential impact of sharing what we have, of redistributing wealth, and of putting our money where our hearts call out for change. And so I have some good news for you. You can be a part of the work of today, of supporting this program, compensating our guest speaker, rewarding the hard work of our young creators who contributed expressions of racial justice to our MLK Day contest, and supporting the Natick Service Council and other organizations that endeavor to assist the oppressed and bring about justice every day of the year. If that sounds like something you feel called to support, we invite you to go to firstparishnatick.org/give-online and follow the prompts to make a contribution to the MLK Day offering. I think those details are on the screen for you now, and if you feel tech savvy, this would be a good moment to take a screenshot so that you can make that contribution when the service is over. Now, if the times have been tough for you, consider offering $1 or a prayer. If times have been generous to your bank account, this is a great opportunity for some faithful redistribution. And wherever you might be in between those two places, what you give will be celebrated. Here and elsewhere, what you give has the potential to move you from spectator to liberator. Thank you for helping to make this celebration happen.
the joy that surrounds us.
So caught up inside ourselves, we take when we should give.
So for tonight we pray for what we now can be, and on this day we hope for what we still can't see.
It's up to us to be the change,
And even though we all can still do more,
There's so much to be thankful for.
look beyond ourselves. There's so much sorrow.
It's way too late to say I'll cry tomorrow.
Each of us must find our truth. It's so long overdue.
So for tonight we pray for what we know can be,
And every day we hope for what we still can't see.
it's up to us to reach the change.
And even though this world needs so much more,
There's so much to be thankful for.
even with our differences, there is a place we're all connected. Each of us can find each other's love.
This is Ian Meverak, the minister and director of the Common Street Spiritual Center in Natick, and I want to send you forth in the spirit of love and interconnection that Martin Luther King Jr. taught. As a nation, we're in a time of turmoil, and one thing I believe is that a fear-based politics and a hate-based politics will not deliver us from the crisis we're in. Only love, as King taught, has the power to overcome hatred. Only truth has the power to overcome falsehood. So go forth in that spirit of love, standing in the truth. And in that way, may we be peacemakers, may we be healers, may we be bringers of hope. Amen.